Hello, today I'm going to be taking a look at the Mino link for trail bikes. So I've got two bikes that use the Mino link. I have the Trek Slash and I also have the Trek Rail. If like me, when it comes to bikes, you're absolutely clueless and you have no idea what anything does, you just ride them, then you're probably wondering what the Mino link actually does and where it is. And here we have a Trek bike, and the Mino link is located on the back of the bike underneath the saddle down here. On mine clearly says Mino link. On some bikes I've noticed it's quite hard to see that, but on mine it's clearly marked Mino link. So you're probably wondering what the Mino link does. Well, on here you can see a low setting and a high setting. And what this does is it raises and lowers the bike ever so slightly. You can tell the difference between the settings, obviously with the high and the low, but if they're not very visible, you have this gap. Now this is what I call the 1 penny gap or the £1 gap. So as you can see, it's quite wide here, so that's the £1 gap I call it. And when you have the other setting the other way around, I think I've got mine on the, it looks like mine's on the high. So if you put it on the low setting, then that gap is very, well, it's not really there. You can hardly see it, and just make out a gap enough so the two parts of the frame don't rub. So that is basically where your Mino link sits and what it does. So for me, I do prefer mine on the high setting from the looks of it, and it just makes the ride a lot more smoother, and I also feel like I'm sitting way better on the bike in a more central position, whereas when I had it on the low setting I felt like I was too far forward and leaning too far forward, and always like I wanted to go over the bars. As I said, I'm pretty clueless when it comes to anything technical on a bike, so when I first got me Trek Slash I liked it, but there was something that just didn't feel right about it. I always like to say, felt like I was over the front a lot and not sitting properly, so I rode it like that for a little bit. Was quite disappointed with the performance of the bike, and me on the bike I should say. So eventually I was told about this Mino link and I tried it, and I can honestly say my riding was 100% better, and I just felt way better seated on the bike. So if you're like me and you're one of them people who just feel there's something not right about your bike, then maybe try adjusting the Mino link. You never know, it could change your whole ride. Vroom, vroom. Right, so you have two Mino links, one for each side of the frame, and this is the Mino link here broke down into three parts. So the first thing you have is the bolt. There you go. That goes through your frame and holds it all together. You have the washer or the spacer, obviously doing what it does, goes between the frame and stops the two parts of the frame rubbing. And then you have the actual Mino link bit itself, and this is the bit that makes the difference depending whether you have it on the low or the high setting. So basically all that means is when it's in the frame it either looks like that, or can't turn it around, it'll look like that. There we go, took a while to focus, but there you go. So that's what makes all the difference. Isn't much, but as I said, for me this made a massive difference to me riding and my overall comfort on the bike. And this bit here is just the same link put together. So there's the spacer in the middle, the bolt I'm holding, and the Mino link bit itself. That's where all the magic happens. Who would have thought a little bolt like that can make all the difference to your riding, or your comfort, or both, or whichever. Right, here we are, back at home in my wonderful setup. And here we have the rear part of a Trek frame with the suspension mounty bit. And these are the two bits where the Mino link sits. So basically that bit goes in there and the Mino link sits in there and in here. So the bolt goes through like that, bolt through that side, and your Mino link sits in here. Now as you can see, if I do that, it moves the frame back and forwards. So there's your £1 gap and there's your penny gap. So yep, so that's basically all there is to it. So the Mino linky bit, that bit there, has a little lip on the back as well. There we go. And that sits in there. So you can have it that way. Or, if it can't get out, you can turn it and have it that way. First, I'll put it in that way around, and we'll just set the Mino link on, put a bolt just through loosely. Right. There's the bolt in, and you can see the gap. So on this one, you can just make out Mino link and very loosely make out high and low. And as you can see, that's on the high setting. Right, I've now got the Mino link the other way around, so it's closer to this side of the frame. So this put it on the low setting, or the 1P as I call it. So again, we'll just put the Mino link in. I haven't got the washers in yet because this is just to show you. And there you go, you can see straight away it's a much smaller gap. So that's your low setting for the looks of it, and then your high setting is a wider gap. So again, you can tell by the way this bolt sits. So when you put this together, you must make sure that both these Mino link bolts are facing the same way. You can't have one that way and you can't have one that way. It just wouldn't work. So make sure you've got them set up the way you want them before you put your bike together. Now your spacers, sort of things here, sit on the inside of each part of this, the, what do you call it, the shock mount thing. They sit inside there just loosely, so they are loose. So you need to be aware of that. And when it goes on your bike, it goes behind like that. So your washers are sitting between both parts of the frame. Now this can be quite tricky when you're putting it together. When you take the bolts out, as sometimes them washers do fall out. So watch that you don't lose these washers. And that's how easy the washers fall out. I've got that sitting on there with the washers, but I don't have the Mino link bit in yet. But as you can see, the bolts in forward and back. So I'd probably recommend when you're doing it on your bike to put the bolts in like this, leave it in, don't take the bolts right out, just take the Mino links off, leave the bolts in so you don't lose the spacers. Set your bike up where you want it, and then when you've got your bike set up where you want it, add your Mino link. So push it in, try not to get the nut out completely, and then just screw it so it holds it in place like that. So there you go, that's now holding in place. Do the same with the other one, keep your finger on the bolt, line up how you want it, push it in. You'll feel the bolt want to fall out, but it won't because you're stopping it, and then just screw it in place. Hopefully by doing it that way, you're not going to lose the washers out of the frame. So if I unscrew this, and unscrew it just so far, so it doesn't come out, then I'll push it forward a bit, So that loosens off the Mino link at the back. So I can pull the Mino link out in theory. Right, a little bit more. There you go, the Mino link's out, but the board's still in place and so is the washer. So I'll do the same on this side. There you go. So the bolts have remained in place, the washers have remained in place, you haven't lost them, you haven't took the bolts out, but you can move it back and forwards quite easily. So now I'll do it the opposite way. So push it forward, put the Mino link in that way, push it in, and then screw your bolt. So there you go, it's holding it in place. And now it's more towards that side, so I'm assuming that's the low end. Do the same with this one. There you go, that's in. Screw it. And there you go. There you go. The one piece slot. And once you're happy with the position, all you need to do is tighten it. I'm not going to fully tighten this because I don't want to waste all my thread lock. But there you go. That is the Mino link. Very simple. And as I say, that gap or the heightening and lowering of the frame can make all the difference to your riding and the comfort on your bike. Well, I hope you found that video helpful. Hopefully, if you're like me and you're clueless, it's give you a bit of an idea on how to make your riding feel a lot better and smoother. And hopefully that video was simple enough to follow. Like I say, I'm not the most mechanical minded person, but it is pretty easy to do and it does make all the difference. So thanks for watching and see you next time.